thought this evening I would talk a little bit about the addictive process and how that fits together with dependent origination and this sequence of, mental experiences, and how that fits together, because in the description of this the cycle, it goes through from ignorance at the beginning, then the arising of the six senses and sense contact, then giving rise to feeling, and then feeling, conditioning, craving, then conditioning, clinging, and then clinging, conditioning, becoming, and becoming, conditioning, birth, aging and death, sorrow, lamentation, pain, grief, and despair. Sukha parideva dukkha domana supayasa. Or as one friend of ours in the States used to say, these are a few of my favorite things. So the addictive process is connected to what we do when we meet with dukkha. As I think I was referring to on the first evening, it's mysterious how this works, because when we arrive at a situation, an experience of unhappiness or regret, feelings of incompleteness, so that maybe the desire that we followed is to yell at somebody, that we really feel alive when we get angry and vent our spleen, and that's how we kind of feel. That's when we feel best, is when we have a good rant. And then you've vented your spleen, you've yelled at somebody, you've let them know what you think, and then shortly afterwards you feel sukha parideva dukkha domana supayasa. That's the feelings of regret and all of the wreckage of the effects of your words is all around you, and you realize, oh dear, I shouldn't have said that, or that was very hurtful, or it wasn't entirely true, or I said I wasn't going to do this again. And so this is the dukkha experience, and characterized in this term, sorrow, lamentation, pain, grief, and despair, or the other kinds of desires or aversions that we follow, whatever our particular attachments are, whether it's drinking alcohol or smoking cigarettes or consuming pastries or seeking approval and affection, being a successful meditator. That as I've said a few times, it's the desire objects, or the things that we are addicted to or habituated to, are not always as obvious as things like a bottle of drink. They can be also social approval, wanting to be the chief merit maker, the one who is the sort of the big supporter of the temple, who gets the front seat because they're the most important person. And, so that when we have followed through a desire, whatever it might be, then we can experience this very painful, difficult quality of dukkha. There's this sensations, feelings, the mood of regret, self-criticism, and so then to the rational mind you think, well, why would you want to do that again? And we might even be feeling when we arrive at that experience, this is awful. This is why I said I wasn't going to do this again, because this is a dreadful experience, and I hate this, and this is awful. I never want to do this to myself ever again. This is the rational mind, the voice of reason and clarity is speaking. So, how is it that we find ourselves, as David Bowie put it, always crashing the same car? We find a while later, we're in exactly the same situation. We've pursued the same pattern of desire. We've yelled at somebody else, or we've gone back to the bottle, or we've had another smoke, or we've maneuvered ourselves again into a position of being seen as somebody special and and important, and we've fed our own desires for inflation or receipt or getting affection or social success or whatever it might be that is our drug of choice. There are different ways that you can look at this, and all of our experiences will be different in various ways. But when you explore this, when we look at it, the way that the pattern seems to work is because we're not clear about the experience of dukkha. It's painful. We feel rattled, we're unsettled, we're adrift, we're lonely, we're insecure. There's a lot of me and mine in that. So we're generally not seeing clearly. There's a lot of avidya in the mix, a lot of ignorance, a lot of unclarity in the mix. And so it's the voice of reason that says, I'm never going to do this again. This is totally pointless. This is really harmful, physically, emotionally, socially. I need to get free of this. But that's not the voice that has the power in all situations. So that the voice of reason, the voice of wisdom, is like again, to get maybe a little bit neuroscientific, that's the voice of the neocortex. That's the kind of the superego, that's sort of the clear, rational thinker. But what's driving the force of craving and compulsion is more the reptile brain, down in the non-conceptual, reactive, what's called the limbic system, the reactive reptile regions of the brain, which is like, me, I want, get out of here, that's mine. Yeah. And that non-verbal reactive impulses towards sexual gratification, towards ownership of property, towards aggression, fighting off the competition, getting revenge on those who've hurt you or irritated. It's that aspect of our being, that reactive, instinctual dimension of our being, is what's sort of driving the wheel of becoming, the bhava chakra. That's what causes the same patterns to repeat themselves. So it's not reason that makes us follow our compulsions. It's not mostly. Maybe some of you would disagree with that, but generally, it's not reason or clarity that's saying, yes, I'm going to do that again, or actually this isn't really harmful, and why not? The thinking mind might be brought in to kind of provide backup. If you understand, it's like it can be like the kind of guest lawyer to make a case of why it's actually all right to go and get blasted again, or to blast somebody else again, or to have another smoke. But the impulse, the sort of the driving force of it is more the sort of the non-conceptual, instinctual, sort of reactive element of our nature. And so what causes it is because, and why we get drawn to repeating the same patterns, why we keep crashing the same car over and over again, we keep repeating the same patterns, is because we're in that state of dukkha, sokha parideva dukkha domanassa upayasa. As I said, we're feeling insecure, we're feeling lonely, we're feeling incomplete. There's definitely an I sense, and that I is not satisfied. That I is looking for something to make that I feel good, to make it feel secure, to make it feel happy, and to feel protected. And in that mix of wanting something that'll make me feel good, again, it's a non-rational thing. But what the mind inclines towards is what was the thing that made it feel good last time? Where did you last feel that sense of yes? And where we last felt that feeling of yes, where there was that most sort of substantial experience of gratification, was when you had that last drink, or when you had that last rant, or when you had that last sweet and sticky pastry at the pie shop. or whatever it might be. That when you got that last nod of approval from the Ajahn, who says, "Well done." that hit, that charge, was the last time that we felt good, and so, against all reason, then the attention goes to find a way. And the attention moves towards recreating that situation to get that feeling of yes, to get that feeling of gratification once again, even though it's going against all the assertions. The voice of reason said, "I'm not going to do this again. This is really stupid. This is not doing me or anybody any good." Counter to all of that, it finds a way through. This is my experience of how this works. And then, lo and behold, we've crashed the same car again. We've followed that same pattern. We've fallen into that same behavior. And then we're again thinking, why did I do this? I wasn't going to do this. How did I end up here again? But because I think if we see how it works in this way, and we recognize it's not a rational thing, the mind is just drawn towards that which was the last, cause of that quality of contentment, and so we get drawn back into those patterns. And so, whatever we've habituated ourselves to, and the Buddha pointed this out in many teachings, whatever the mind pays attention to, that will be the inclination that it shows in the future. So that if we have found satisfaction or a thrill or that quality of yes when we're gambling and we win at cards or we win on the slot machine, then we're going to be drawn towards the gambling. It's interesting. I'm not being interested in gambling myself, and I forget that the world of gambling exists. And then it was interesting. Last year, meeting some old friends of the monastery, and having a chat with them, I suddenly realized, oh, she's got a real gambling thing, and how for that particular person who's been a very sort of committed meditator and a devoted Buddhist for many years, her mind moves towards finding an excuse to go gambling, and how actually it's all right. If you're not, as long as you're not using real money, or it's just sort of you're just experimenting, or that you're not really buying shares, and you're just kind of theoretically playing the stock market, and that's how for that particular person, that's the channel that the mind goes down, because there has been this experience of yes, look at that big score, and that flush of happiness and a sense of being, a sense of identity being affirmed, coming from gambling. Now, it might be for others of us, it might be alcohol, it might be tobacco, it might be social approval, it might be collecting degrees, learning languages, impressing people with the number of languages you can speak, or how many meditation retreats you've done, how many notches you got on your zabuton, or how high up the monastic hierarchy you are, and you sort of casually mention how many decades you've been in robes. Go, ooh, wow. Whatever it might be, as I've said over and over again, we have to I would encourage everybody to sort of insert your own particular favored identity here. And it doesn't have to be things that are particularly sort of noble or wholesome. It can be your favorite identity as a complete failure. That's your thing, is to be hopeless. And if something threatens your hopelessness, you feel, how dare you? I'm a victim. Do you mind? And seriously, I'm not trying to trivialize that, but it's important to look and to see these areas of our life where we do form this